All right, let's get into it here. Another day, another lesson. So today, what we're going to be covering here. Let me get this into read mode here. There we go. So what we're going to be covering today is lesson 3, and that's going to be on stocks and scanners. So I think it's important that we talk about, what is a stock and how do we find them. It's a little bit easier than it sounds. There's a little bit of, setup work that goes into it. But we've covered in lesson 1 trading psychology, which I think is kind of the anchor. It's the root for continuing these lessons. And, from there, we went into getting started. Some things you're going to need in order to get set up from a hardware and software perspective. So, the next lesson here is going to be on stocks and how to find them. So we're going to get into some basic definitions of what a stock actually is, and a few scanner settings that we can use to locate stocks that are going to provide us the best opportunity for setups to get in and get out on our scalp and momentum trades. So let's get started here. All right, so what is a stock? In its basic form, a stock is simply just a security, oftentimes referred to as an equity, that represents a fractional ownership of a corporation. Corporations offer, stocks for purchase to raise revenue for their operations. Doesn't mean that you go out and buy a stock that you have any decision-making abilities within that organization. It just simply means that you own a piece of equity within that stock. You can choose to do with it what you want. You can hold on to it. You can sell it. You can buy more. So on and so forth. So in this arena here that is trading, units of stock are often referred to as shares. And you'll also you'll hear a number of shares will be termed your position, right? So if I own 100 shares of a stock, right, I have a 100 share position in that stock. So just a couple pieces of terminology here. Okay. Again, these shares entitle the owner to a proportion of the corporate's assets and profits equal to how much stock they own. All right. This is just very basic definitions and statements here about stocks here. Okay, typically purchased through a broker who has direct access to the stock exchanges. So your brokers are going to be your Charles Schwab's, your TD Ameritrades, companies like that, and they are the ones who have those direct line accesses to the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and other exchanges. You can't just go there by yourself, right? A broker acts as an in-between for you and the exchanges, and sometimes charge a commission fee for executing the trades, either buying or selling of the stocks that you want. Back in the day, it used to be a phone call in to your broker to let them know when you wanted to buy or sell. In this day and age where we have so many advantages to us. I'm going to lower my profile here. So many advantages to us, in the digital age. Right now it's a simple mouse click or a keyboard punch, once you get things set up. So, definitely need to take full advantage of the opportunities here in the digital age, right? So, again, the broker sometimes will charge a commission fee. Over the last 2 to 3 years, with the likes of, Robinhood and the sort, a lot of these big time brokers have eliminated their commission fees. I use TD Ameritrade. Used to charge, $6 to $7 to buy and also to sell. They are now commission free. They do charge what's called an ECN fee for the broker, but it's literally pennies on the tens of dollars. I think typically I'll take 20 to 30 trades a day, and maybe my ECN fees will be 75 cents for the day. I mean, it's peanuts. All right. So again, there are plenty of brokers out there nowadays that have commission-free executions. For our purposes with training, we're going to stay specifically with TD Ameritrade. We're going to be utilizing their Thinkorswim platform. All right. So when we get to turn the switch to start trading real, there's not going to be any changes, to the structure, and you won't have to worry about the commissions when you're trading real money. So again, for our lessons of trading, we're going to be using TD Ameritrade's Thinkorswim platform, which is part of the discussion in lesson 2, getting set up. Okay, and also, Thinkorswim platform offers a variety of tools we're going to utilize. More lessons to come on that as we chip through these lessons and we kind of piecemeal our way into this process here. Okay? All right, so how do you profit from stock? How do you profit from stocks? Okay, in order to profit from a stock, the price at the time you decide to part with the stock must have changed from the time you purchased in a profit positive direction. Okay, now I'm using part, and we'll get into that, right? I use part above instead of sell because there's a few ways that you could profit from shares of a stock. Okay, going long, which is buying, typically buying the stock, right? If you think the price is going to move up, right, you're going long. You're buying 100 shares or whatever your share lot, right? If you think that the stock is going to go down, and you have the ability to locate shares from your broker to loan to you to sell to another buyer out there, then you would be going short. You would be shorting the stock, right? And essentially what you do is you act as the broker in that case, right? The broker loans you the shares to sell to somebody, right? Let's say at $1, hypothetically, and then you're looking to buy those shares back, right, at let's say 90 cents, right? Then you give those 100 shares, the 100 shares go back to your broker, and then you keep the 10-cent profit. So we may get into some lessons on going short. I'm not a short bias trader, so at some point in time I may, do a quick lesson on going short. But primarily we're going to be discussing the going long or buying methodology here. Okay, and again, buying going long refers to buying a stock with the intent of selling when the stock reaches a higher price. And going short or shorting refers to the process of selling shares to a buyer by borrowing them from your broker. You will then have to buy them back at a lower price to make a profit and return the shares to your broker. This process is simply the reverse of buying. Okay, so how do you find stocks to trade? Okay, there's thousands of stock trading on the market on a daily basis. So how do we find the ones that are most likely to give us opportunities based on the strategy that we're going to be implementing through this training here? Okay, which is scalp and momentum. Okay, stock scanners, or sometimes people refer to them as screeners, critical components to the effort, right? Understanding your strategy is going to help you define the filters that you input into your stock scanner to give you the stocks moving with those defined parameters. Okay, let's say you're out there online shopping for something that has some variables to it, right? And you want color, you want performance specifications. It could be something as simple as a washer and dryer. You want a top load to a side load or to a front load. You're looking for a car, you want color, you want make, you want model, blah, blah, blah. That's all a stock screener is, right? You're simply inputting these filters to reduce the scope of the stocks that you're looking to trade for that day, right? And within the scalp and momentum arena, there are certain variables that we want to make sure that we're inputting into our screeners to make sure that we're not having to look at 10,000 symbols trading throughout the course of a day. Okay. Again, so for our purposes here, we're going to set up our scanner for small cap, low float momentum stocks. Okay. That's where the kind of the bread and butter is for scalp and momentum traders. They're in the small cap, low float momentum stocks. Now, what does small cap low float mean? Right? Small cap is simply small price, small capital. You're not trading. We're not out here trading stocks that are $200 a share, right? We're typically concentrating on stocks, let's say, within the $2 to $20 per share range. Okay? Low float means that there is a low availability to the market for buyers and sellers, right? Which means that there is a low threshold of availability for these stocks. There's a low supply. So when the demand becomes heavy, right, it creates a lot of volatility in the market, right? So we'll get into that here. Okay, so because we're looking to scalp trade, our stocks need to provide considerable momentum, volatility, and visibility. And the way we're going to set these scanners up is going to give us the stocks that are moving right within those ranges. Okay, so let's talk about the scanner settings. The first one we're going to talk about is your basic gap scanner. This is the scanner that you're going to use first thing in the morning before the market starts heating up. Now look, there are people that will trade pre-market, right? I'm not one of them. There's not a lot of volatility and momentum taking place in pre-market for me to be able to get in there and do what I need to do, right? So what I utilize this gap scanner for pre-market is to start identifying stocks that have the potential to move up when the market opens. Okay, so let's get into the discussion here. So this is your basic gap scanner setting. Okay, so again, it's going to show you all the stocks that are moving higher than they closed the previous day, which is often referred to as a gap up or gapped up based on our filter criteria. These are stocks that would have closed, let's say hypothetically, at $10 on Monday, and they opened up at $11 on Tuesday, right, as an example. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to look for is price. Right, and because we're trading small caps, we want our pricing range, let's say, to be between $1 and $50. Right? I know I said 2 to 20. That's where your bread and butter is going to be at, but you want to set some levels on each end of that, right? So you're capturing a full scope, a full view, right? So again, we're trading small caps. You want to set your price range between $1 and $50, and you can set this anywhere. But typically, again, your trades are going to take place within the $2 to $20 range. Volume. This is how many shares that the stock is trading or has traded, right? Typically at the time that you're looking to place your trade. Okay? You're going to want to set this at a minimum of 1 million, right? Now look, you can set this at 500,000 if you want to, but I know where my bread and butter, I know where my ranges are, having doing this for a number of years. You don't want to set a max limit on this. You want a minimum of 1 million or 500,000, right? But you don't want a max limit set because there's no benefit to you having a max limit set. Okay, you're going to find that most trades are going to be between 10 million or greater, right? Now, do I have trades, at the 2 million, 5 million? Sure, but you're going to find a majority of the trades with this strategy are going to be at that 10 million or greater threshold, right? So volume equals momentum and visibility. If you have a stock that's moving with a high rate of volume, it's going to be on everybody's radar, right? So that's what makes volume very critical to our filter process here, okay? Percentage of change. Now what this is the percentage of change to the close from the day before. Okay, so again, this is the percent of change the price is currently at compared to the closing price of the day before. You're going to want to set this at a 5% minimum with no max defined. Again, look, if it's 500%, fantastic. I don't want to throttle my scanner down by saying I don't want to see anything that's over 500%. So we're not setting any max threshold here. 5% at a minimum. Okay. Now, the setting is going to show you the stocks moving up in price from the day before. Typically, you're going to be trading above the 10% level. Now, look, if you want to set your min at 1%, 2%, whatever, that's up to you. These settings are based on what I have seen over the number of years I've been doing this, okay? Do I have trades? Do I have trades at 2%, 5%? Sure. But I will tell you, a majority of my trades take place over the 10% level. Okay? So again, we're setting this up on both ends of the spectrum here, so we're not isolating our scope so much that we're missing out on some opportunities, maybe on a slow day. Okay? Float. Float, again, is the total number of shares that are available to trade for the selected stock that you're looking to trade. Okay? The lower the number, the more volatile that stock can become, because the supply could become lower than the demand. Okay? Look, there are stocks out there that have billions of shares of float available for you to buy and sell. There are stocks that will move on a daily basis that will have less than 500,000 of shares to trade on that day. So those are the stocks that sometimes can create these very volatile moves to the upward side or to the upside, because simply the demand is stronger than the supply, and you get this very volatile parabolic move up. So those, sometimes are the stocks that are going to provide you the best opportunities. Now, you need to be careful because there's ways to trade those, right? So you need to be very careful about how you go into those trades. Maybe lowering your position size going into them, taking a very metered approach to them, because they can be very, very erratic. Okay? Again, the same balance causes parabolic moves, right? Very volatile, very, very whippy sometimes, very back and forth. So you be careful on these things, okay? So you're going to set the scanner up with this float section with no limits on the number of shares, right? On the min or the max, right? Because this is simply going to be a visibility check, right? You're going to make sure that you're looking at the scanner, right? And typically you're going to be looking at the stocks that are moving, that have 50 million shares or less. Okay? Any stock with an increased, float of 50 million or more, I look at a little less valuable than stocks that have that 50 million or less threshold, right? Now, this is just a visibility check. I do not throttle my scanner back because a stock has 50 million floats or more available, right? It's more important for me to see that the stock is moving within the price range and the volume and the percentage of change from the day before, rather than the float. Okay? Okay, so let's get all of these set up in the Trade Ideas scanner. Now, you can use these settings in any scanner, but we're going to use Trade Ideas because that's the one I use. But if it's not your preference, you can certainly do a search online for free scanners. There are some out there like FinViz. I don't know if FinViz is free. I'll do some research before I post this video as some free scanner links that you can check out. But I like Trade Ideas, and you're going to see why as we get into this video. And it has a lot to do with how streamlined that you can get Trade Ideas to work with your trading platform, right? How you can link the symbols from your scanners directly to your trading platform. So all I need to do is click the symbol in my scanner, and it automatically updates everything within my trading platform. Okay. All right. So once you've had the time to, maybe download Trade Ideas, or you got your other scanner set up, we're going to walk through some settings here. If you're setting up another scanner other than Trade Ideas, use this information where applicable. Okay. So from the Trade Ideas toolbar, which is pictured here, you're going to select New. Okay. From the New drop-down selection, you're going to select Top List Window. Okay. I don't know why. Okay. So I wasn't able to get a snapshot of this here, but once you select Top List Window, you're going to get this configuration window set up here. Okay. We're going to walk through step by step here how to set up a top list window. Okay, there's really only two different alerts or scanners we'll use. Top list is one, alert is the other, right? This is the only top list window that I use. This is the gap scanner, okay? All right, so you're going to select a tab and select Windows specific filters. And when we get done with this walkthrough here, I'm going to shift screens, and we're going to actually run through a quick demo on how to get us set up, right? It's not difficult. You'll see how easy it is. Okay, there's going to be default filters in here and values we're going to adjust. Now look, some of these default values that they have listed here aren't going to be used in our discussion. Okay, and once we get done with this, we'll be able to click the hide unused button at the bottom and get rid of the things that we're not using here. Okay. So first we're going to need to add float, because float is not a standard selection here when you start a new top list window here. All right, so first we need to add float as an option. So what you're going to do here is you're going to click search on the menu bar at the top there, and you're going to type float into the search terms. It's going to bring up some options for you. You want to make sure you're selecting float here with the shares definition. Okay. And then at the bottom here, you're going to see add filter. You're going to click that, and that's going to add it. Okay. It's going to add it to your selection down here. And again, it's just going to add it, but we're not going to put any values in there because we don't want to throttle this down here. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to enter the following values that we discussed earlier in the presentation here. Price, you're going to set that to 1 as a min. Okay. You're going to set it to 50 as a max. Your change of close, okay, which is here, which is the make sure it has the one with the percentage and not the dollar sign. Okay. Change from close is a percentage. You're going to set the min to 5. Now look, you can set it to 1 to 2, whatever you want. We're not going to set a max. We're not going to throttle the max. Your volume today, right, which is shares, okay, you're going to set that to 5 million. Right? Now look, if you want to set this to 1 million, I think I said 1 million before. I've got mine set to 5 million because I know my sweet spot is 10 million and above, and it gives me a little time to see the stock moving on the scanner before it gets into that target area. You can set this to whatever you want. What I'm saying is, based on my trades and my history, 5 million is good for me. Okay, but again, we're not throttling the max here. We're going to leave the max open. Okay, and then the float, you're not going to put any min or max limits in there. Okay, you're just going to leave it in there because we want to have it as a visible column on our scanner that we can look at. Okay. All right, so next we're going to select the columns that we want to be visible on the scanner, right? Once we get all this set. Okay, so next let's select columns so we can choose what we want to be visible. Remove from the left side of your screen here. Let me get my picture out of the way here a little bit. Okay, so from the left side here, you're going to remove any filter that we didn't have entries for. Okay, so position and range, get rid of that, right? Relative volume ratio, you can get rid of that. There may be a point in time where you want to use that relative volume ratio. I found that I really don't need it, right? Volume today is a percentage, get rid of that, right? So when it's all said and done, this right here should what your selected column section looks like. Symbol is going to be a default on every top list scanner. So we got symbol, price, change from close as a percentage, and volume today as shares, right? And then you're just going to hit OK. Okay. Once you click OK, you're going to be directed to the summary tab over here. Okay. This is where you're going to be able to name the scanner up here in the window name, right? I just simply call it Gap Scanner. Okay. And you're going to be able to review the filters summary. So that's going to tell you all the filters you selected, right? It's going to tell you, hey, the stocks where the price is listed between 1 and 50, stocks where the volume today is at least 5 million shares, and stocks where the price was up at least 5% from the previous close, right? And you have a default sort, which is based on volume, right? Typically, I have mine sorted by greatest volume of the day, right, at the top. Once you hit OK, this is what your scanner is going to look like. Well, I shouldn't say that because I have some color highlights in here that we can get to in a later lesson. But if you want your scanner to make your ranges kind of pop a little bit, you can go up here and right click at the top of the column and go into a color configuration setting and basically determine the range that you want your scanner to reflect these cell colors based on the volume ranges that you want to set. And you can do that for each one of these here. So anytime I see green across this thing here, it's telling me that every single one of those filters are hitting the range that I'm interested in. Okay, so this is what your scanner is going to look like as a basic. You have your symbol, you have your closing percentage, your volume, your price, and your float. Okay, you can set these up however you want. Simply click the column header, drag it wherever you want to, and drop it. Okay, and we're gonna run into these setups here after I get through a few more scanners that I want to briefly go through. But this gap scanner here is the scanner that I use pre-market every morning to look at stocks that have the potential of running when the market opens. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll take some of these and I'll input the symbols into the monitor on top so I can just keep it on them. Once you get this set up, it's really it's not something you need to keep your eyes peeled to, all the time. And again, we're 30 to 60 minutes at the most, a day is kind of the goal that we're going for here. It shouldn't take you all day in the market to get what you need to get and get out. All right, so let's talk about the next scanner here. I'm going to move myself up top side here so I can get out of the way. Okay. All right, so the next one is a volume mover alert scanner. Okay, gap scanner is perfect for finding those stocks that are moving up pre-market, but I want another scanner that tells me as the day progresses what stocks are moving right at an above average volume. Okay, now look, this could be a decrease in volume or it could be an increase. Okay, so just take that into consideration. This scanner could show you stocks that are flushing down, but since we're going long biased here, we're looking for the stocks that are moving up, right? So again, these are just some basic settings, and you're going to use the same fundamentals that we discussed in the gap scanner setup to get this scanner set up. Okay, so let's talk about it a little bit. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go to the menu up top and click new again, but instead of a top list window, you're going to select an alert window. Okay, which is the very first selection you get out of the new selection. Okay, once you get that set up, you're going to get this setup window here again, right? But there's some things that it doesn't come preloaded with that we need to add. Okay, so what we need to add is we need to go to search alerts over here. Okay, and we need to type in 1 minute. Okay, and we need to click this and add this 1 minute volume spike ratio selection. Okay, and we need to add that alert. Okay, once that's added, we need to go to this window here and we need to make sure that it's checked as an alert. You need to make sure that checkbox is there. And in the ratio section, you want to make sure that your ratio is set to 50. Okay, now what that's doing is it's saying you want to be alerted anytime a stock, right, has spiked at a ratio of 50 to 1, right? Now that's a 50 to 1 average value movement, right? Because you're looking for that heavy fluctuation in volume. That's going to alert you that, hey, something's going on here, right? So once that's selected, okay, you're going to hit OK, and then you're going to go over here to your selections here, and basically some of these are going to be similar to what you have in your gap scanner, but some of them may change, and I'll explain a little bit why. Okay, your price is going to be again 1 to 50. Your change from close now, instead of 5% as a minimum, I have mine set at a -10 because I want to see the stocks that are coming from the low end and potentially moving up. And when your volume spikes start to hit, sometimes it doesn't take a lot for that stock to go from a negative percentage change to a very high change percentage. So I want to make sure that I'm capturing that, at a low point. Okay, your volume today, 500,000 shares. Again, we're setting this low because we want to be able to start capturing that visibility when those stocks begin to make that possible parabolic move up. Okay, on this one here, I don't know why I have the float in here, but I have it float 1 to 75 million. Again, you can leave the float blank. Here's why we added. Okay, I take that back. So this volume 1 minute, if it's not on this chart, you need to go back to search and add that volume 1 minute, and you need to go and add the volume 5 minute percentage. Okay, make sure this is percentage. And if these aren't, let me see it. Do they come standard? Let's just check it out. New alert window. Let's just see if they come standard. Okay, looks like they do. So you might not have to add them at all. Okay, so again, we want to change this to a 1 minute, 1,000%, right? And we want to change the volume 5 minute to a 300%. Okay, what this is basically filtering out are those stocks that are not moving unless they are up over 1,000% on the 1 minute time frame in volume compared to the average 1 minute. And this could be the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, right? We're looking for that spike. So 1,000%. Okay, and you can change these values to whatever you want. These are the values that I utilize in my scanners. Okay, so once you get all of this set up, and I know we went over a lot here, once you get all of this set up and hit OK, we're going to go to the summary here. Okay, so I forgot to say, we need to, once you hit the summary, once you hit OK, it's going to take you to the summary. You can name it, right? I simply have mine called Volume Movers. Right, it's going to go through the summary, hit OK. This is what your scanner is going to look like over here. Okay, and you'll notice it's similar, or it's pretty much the same that I have on the gap scanner, except now we have a time column in here. Okay, because sometimes, if my focus is away and I look back and I say, oh, this stock is moving, I want to look at the time because maybe it was 15 minutes ago. Okay, but again, symbol, change close, volume, float, price. And again, you can change the color of these to whatever you want by right clicking here and going through the color customization tool. All right, so that's your Volume Movers alert scanner, right? You might have to watch this back a few times in order to get it dialed in because I went through a lot there, but you'll get it. It's easy. All right, let's talk about the next one. This is a new high alert scanner, and simply what this scanner is going to do is it's going to alert me when a stock has hit a new high for the day. Okay, simple as that. Tell me when a stock has hit a new price for that day. Okay, so again, we're going to go back to the Trade Ideas toolbar. We're going to select alert window. We're going to go into the settings here. We want to make sure that we add these two options here in the search alerts. We want new high, right? And again, that's based on days. We want pre-market highs. That's based on days as well. Okay, because as I'm looking at the pre-market, right, I want to make sure that my scanner is telling me stocks that are moving with a pre-market high as well. Okay, so we want to make sure those values are set to 1 because we're only interested in that daily alert, that 1 day. Okay, so just enter 1 there. Okay, so once you have those set, make sure the check boxes are hit, right, for your new high, for both your new high settings. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to set up our configuration window here. Okay, again, price 1 to 50, change from the close. I had that set at a 2%, again, to capture that movement up. Maybe it's a slow day and I want to make sure that I'm capturing some stocks that are on the move up. My volume today I have set at 1 million shares as a minimum, no cap on the maximum. Float, again, I don't know why I have the float selected here. You can leave that blank if you want to. Here's the important one here. Okay, And I don't know that it's added here. Let me check here. New alert window. Change 1 minute. Okay, it's not. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to go back to our search button here, and we have to search for change 1 minute based on dollar value, not percentage. Okay, and we have to add that to our filters. Okay, and once that's added, okay, we want to make sure that the range is, let's say, a minimum of 2 cents to $50. Okay, I don't want to know stocks that are changing price on a fraction of a penny, right? I don't want to know stocks that have changed price within the minute on these new highs, a penny. So I put this condition in here, right? So it quiets the scanner, right? So I'm only interested in stocks that are moving within this price range, that have a change from the close above 2%, that have moved 1 million shares at that point in time, right? And the change from the 1 minute, right, is at least 2 cents. Okay? Now look, you can get in here and adjust these however you want. These are just my recommendations. Okay? And that's all there is. Now once you select this here and hit OK, you want to make sure you go to the Summary tab, name it however you want to name it, and this is how your scanner is going to look over here. Okay? Your symbol, change close, volume, float, price, time. Okay? Last one here is a halted alert scanner. These are stocks that have been, typically I'm looking for the stocks that have halted up because I want to watch them for a restart and for an entry possibly, going into another halt. But these are the stocks that are typically volatile and will provide some decent opportunities if you play them well. Okay, so again, this scanner here, you're going to go to, it's another alert scanner. So you just go to your toolbar, hit new, go to alert. You want to make sure that you search for halt and add this alert. Okay, make sure you go to your select alerts and make sure it's selected. Right, there's no formats in here you need to enter in. It's just simply a halt check. Okay, the only configuration you really need to do here is your price. It range between 1 and 50. Right, there's really no other filter that you really need to put in here. You can if you want to, but there's really no need for it in my opinion, in my experience. Okay, and this is what the scanner is going to look like whenever a stock gets halted up or down. It's going to pop up on your window here, and I utilize this primarily for the symbol and the time, because typically you'll see stocks halted on 2 time frames, either a 5 minute or a 10 minute. More often than not, it's 5 minutes. But if it's a really volatile stock, you could see it halted for 10 minutes, right? And what that does is, the exchange will halt the stock and give the, company time to determine why the stock is either going up so fast or going down so fast, right? Look, halted stocks, are they risky? Absolutely. Can you get into a position where you're in with some size on the stock that gets halted, and then it gets halted for weeks or months? It's happened, right? Does that happen a lot? No, but it can. So that's just something to consider. I've never experienced it. I haven't really heard of anybody dealing with the issue in the last 4 or 5 years personally, but it's something that can happen. Will it happen? The probability is very low. So typically you're looking at 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so those are the 3, or I guess we went through more than that. Went to a multiple scanner settings here, right? So now we want to take a look at how these scanners are set up in my active trader window here. Okay, so this is how my main monitor is set up. I only trade really off of 2 monitors. Okay, this is how my main monitor is set up. All right, all of my scanners on the left hand side of my screen here, right? I have my gap scanner, right? This is just a watch list that I have created that I'll enter stocks in here to keep watch on. It's not really a scanner. Here is my value movers, here is my new high, and here's my halt. Now, typically I will look at some correlation between at least these three scanners. If I see a value mover, I expect to see that same stock hit my new high. Now, on the flip side, if it hits the new high, I will typically look to see it on my volume scanner, and it will typically be one of the stocks that are moving on my gap scanner up here with some significant volume or a significant rate of change, right? So I look for some alignment between these three scanners sometimes to give me the confidence that this stock is the real deal here, right? So just one of those things I look for. But you can see it's very, very clean here. Everything's on the left side. I have my charts. This is my chart session that I have logged in with Thinkorswim, and this is my execution section that I have logged in with Thinkorswim, right? There's a reason why I have two separate logins. It's not like I need to sign up for two separate logins. I simply just go through the login process twice. But I have them separated because I don't want to throttle the execution login session down with loading chart data, right? So I log in two separate times, and I have my Thinkorswim sessions formatted, right, cleaned up to where it's optimized for whatever it is that I'm using it for, okay? And all I do is I simply increase my RAM usage on Thinkorswim settings up to whatever my system resources is utilizing. At this point, I think I have it set up for, I don't know, 2 gigs or something like that. I don't know, I could be speaking out of pocket, but anyway, I look at my system resources, see how much memory or RAM my programs are using, and I simply elevate it to meet that level, right? And so it helps with the speed of execution when I click buy and sell. Okay, so you'll see that I have a couple of things highlighted here, right? And these are the window links, right, that TD Ameritrade provides, that you can link all these windows here to the same symbol. Okay, so we'll get into that here. Okay, so on the top here, you'll see I have them highlighted again here, but these here on the bottom I don't have linked. I have basically just a chain link. I use these for just entering in stocks that I want to keep an eye on, right, that I don't want to have any attachment to within my active trader window or my charts, right? If ABCD is moving, I'll simply go up here and type in ABCD, and I'll just keep an eye on it. This is the monitor on top, okay? But there's a reason why I want to go through all this, and I'll show you. This is how you link Trade Ideas Scanner to your Thinkorswim charts. And the first step to this is to make sure that all of your charts and execution windows are linked to the same number. In this case, it's the number 2. Okay? All of this here is linked, except for these on the bottom here. These are no link at all. Okay? These are linked to number 2. So anytime that I go over here and I click on a symbol, okay, all of this changes automatically to this symbol that I'm looking at. So it's a very quick click and update to my active windows here that I need to be able to look at and make decisions really quickly. Okay, so let's get in how to set that up really quickly. Okay, all right, so in order to link Trade Ideas scanners to Thinkorswim, there's only a few things that you need to do. Again, you must have one chart for Thinkorswim dedicated to the link. Okay, because if you go to the chart and you start manipulating in it and doing something to it, it's going to break the link. Okay, now because I have 2 sessions of Thinkorswim running at the same time always, it's easy for me to do this because I simply just use my execution homepage login and on my charts tab. Okay, Easy breezy. I have my anchor set to number 2, and I'm off to the races here. Okay? Again, this chart needs to be one that you're never going to interact with, because doing so is going to break the link. Okay? All of the Thinkorswim charts and execution windows need to be linked to the same number, which we talked about earlier. I have mine set to 2. I think you have 9 options, right? You can select whatever number you want to use. Okay? This links all symbol changes that take place in one window, which is right here. This is your anchor window. Okay? This is the anchor window. This is the one that you're going to set as your link to trade ideas. This is the one that you're never going to touch, right? If you do, you're going to have to go back, edit the link, which, takes seconds. But, again, this is your anchor window, okay? So any changes to your symbol are going to link to all the other windows. And again, I use 2 login sessions for Thinkorswim, right? One for charts, one for execution. So I simply use my execution login, which is in the upper right here, okay? So you're going to select the charts tab in your execution section, right up here. Okay. You're going to clear out this You're going to clear out the symbol selection here. If there's a symbol in there, you're going to clear that out. Okay. Make sure it's anchored to number 2, like we discussed earlier. Okay. Next, from the Trade Ideas toolbar, you're going to select Tools. You're going to get a drop down, and you're going to get an option that says External Linking. You're going to select that. That's going to open up this window here. Okay. Now I have this window open all the time up top, just in case I need to get to it quick, right? But first time in here, right, it's going to drop down this menu. You're going to hit this Add Link button. Boom. It's going to bring up a box. It's going to look something like this down here at the bottom. It's going to give you some instruction to hover over the symbol area, right, and hold and hit your shift button. That's all you need to do. Simple as that. Toolbar, external linking, add link, hover over your symbol area with your mouse, hit the shift button, and then you're going to get this little window down here that pops up, right? Let me move my mug out of the way. Okay? You're going to get this window that pops up that basically, stating that the link to Thinkorswim has been created. You click OK, and then you're off to the races. Okay. Now, if this window here happens to turn pink or some other color, right, that means that the link didn't take, and you have to go through the setup again, right? You just hit cancel, go back up here, add link, hover, hit your shift button, right, hit OK, and you're good to go. And then you can test it out by, clicking on a link on your setup here and making sure everything changes for you as expected. Okay. All right. So again, you might have to watch this a few times just to to let it all sink in, but that's the gist of it. It's really, really easy. Okay. So we went through a lot there. Okay, but now what I want to show you is how easy this is, right? So let me find my monitor here, monitor 2 maybe. So let's go to here. Let's see, it's the other LG. Where is it at? Bear with me here while we find it. All right, let's go to main monitor. There we go. All right, now let me move my face out of the way here. All right, so what we're going to do here is we are going to run through the process of setting up a scanner. All right, so you have your Trade Ideas program open here. Okay. All you're going to do is you're going to go up here to New. Let's say we're doing our gap scanner. You're going to go up here to New. Top list window. Okay. We're going to click on Windows Specific Filters. Okay. We've got all of our options here. Okay. We're going to select our price 1 to 50. Okay. Change from close. Percentage 5. Going to clear out the average daily volume. We don't want that. We want volume today as a number of shares. Okay, not percentage, not any of that. We want shares. Okay, we're going to set this. Let's just say to 500,000. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, that's all that we need for a gap scanner, except for we need to add float. So let's go to search. Boom. Up in here, we're going to type float. It's going to come up auto populate here. We want float shares, add filter. Okay, now it's added at the bottom here. Now we're not going to enter any values in here because we don't want to throttle this down. Okay, we're just going to simply use it for visual purposes. Okay, all right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to summary. Let's call this Gap Scanner 2023, right? Okay, it's going to give us a summary of what's going on here, what we've entered. Once we review this and we've decided this is exactly what we want, hit OK. All right, and here's our scanner. Now, because it's a Sunday and the market's not open, you're not going to see any value in here. However, if we right-click in here and we go to time frame and we go to historical date, let's go back to Friday. And let's go to 10:30 a.m. That's fine. Okay. Now we have all of this stuff here, right, that we're looking at. We've got too much in here. Okay. So we want to configure this. We want to get rid of some of this, right? So let's right click in here. Let's go to configure. Let's go to columns. We want to get rid of some of this stuff like we talked about in the lesson, right? Position and range, don't need it. Relative volume ratio, don't need it. Volume today as a percentage, don't need it. Shares we want. Change from close as a dollar value, we don't need it. Okay? Once we get all that cleaned up, hit OK. Now it changes, right? Now, this is starting to look a little more like what we have up here. Okay, now look, if I want to move my change of close over, all I need to do is simply click the column, move it over, volume today, I want that over. Okay, price. Now what are we missing here? We're missing float. So let's go back to configure. Let's go back to columns. Let's go over here and let's look for float. Where's it at? There it is. Let's select it. Let's move it over. Hit OK. Now our float's in there, right? Awesome. Okay. Now, what I can do is I can show you really quickly on how to configure these columns here. If I want the change of close to only highlight a certain color over a certain percentage, all I need to do is right click on there, go to custom colors. Okay. And within here, you can create a value. Okay. So first of all, I know my value. I want it to highlight bright green if it's any lower than, let's say, 50 million. So I'm going to enter that in as a value. What color if it's below? What color if it's above? Okay? If it's above 50 million, I don't want any color at all. So I'm going to go up here and just select white. If it's below 50 million, I want it to be bright green. Okay? Then I want to add this. Now it's added it up here. Okay? All I do is click OK. Now you can see every one of these here. Oh, I was doing float. So let's go back here. Let's change this to, instead of 50 million, let's edit it. Let's select it. Let's change it to 5. Let's change it to anything above 5%. So again, we need to change these colors back. Okay, let's make that one white. Let's make this one green. Okay. Okay, and let's add that. Let's delete that. Okay. Now if we go back, now it should have highlighted anything that's above 5%. Okay. Now you can set this however you want. You can do the same thing to volume. If I want to create a custom color for volume, let's delete all of these because we don't want to use any of them, right? And let's say we want to highlight light green on volume that's any greater than, let's say, 5 million. 1, 2, 3, 3. Okay. For anything less than, right, we don't want any color. For anything greater than, we're going to leave it green. Okay. Let's add that. Okay. Let's hit OK. Now what you can see is it's highlighted this, anything over 5 million. Okay. You can do this with all the columns here. If I don't want my symbols to be colored, let's just go in here and I don't know why it's got them colored like that. There's a way to take the color out of that, but lock column, server sort. There might be something in here. They may have changed it, but there's a way to get all the colors out of your symbols here, like I have it here on my gap scanner. But again, that's just a quick run through on your scanner setup and how easy it is, right? Now look, if we want to do an alert, let's do an alert real quick. Go up to New, go to Alert Window. Okay, this one we want to do for new highs, let's say. So we're going to go to New Alert. Okay, new high is already in there. Okay, but if it wasn't, we could simply go over here and type in new and look for new high here and add it. Okay, add alert. But since it's already there, we only want the alert for a 1-day period. Okay, make sure that's there. Make sure the box is checked. Windows specific filters. Again, we want to make sure that our change from close, you know, right, 2% is fine. Relative volume, I'm not worried about. Volume today, again, you could set this at 500,000 if you wanted to, right? And this is where your volume 1 minute and volume 3 minute, these should be defaulted, right? If they're not, 1000% is a min on the 1 minute, 300% on the 5 minute. Okay, you should be good to go. Go to your columns, you know, some of the stuff you don't need. I don't need count alerts. I don't need volume today as a percentage, right? I do want volume 1 minute, 5 minute in there as a percentage. Volume today, I don't want relative ratio. I don't want description, okay? Time, type. I don't even think I want type in there. Time, symbol, all that good stuff, okay? Where'd it go? Now I gotta find it. There it is. Okay, so here's your new alert window. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to go in here and we have to change a few things. Okay, I actually don't want to see the 1 minute and 5 minute, right? I just want them to be a filter, right? So let's go back in here to our columns. Okay, I don't want to see these. I just want them to be a filter. Okay, right? It's taking them out. And again, you can go back to your configure, you can go back to your summary, you can call this whatever you want to. Let's say new highs 2023. Okay, and then you can go in here and format this exactly like you did your gap scanner. Okay, that's all there is to setting scanners up. Okay, just wanted to spend a few minutes going through that, going through the setup just to see just how easy it is to get those things set up. If we go back to our lesson here, bear with me, boom. Let's go back to the other LG monitor. Okay, so again, when you get all this set up, run through this. It might take you a few times to run through it. Again, take your notes. Let's get my mug out of here again. Boom. Boom. Okay. Take your notes. Might take you a few times to go through these setups. These are the scanners that I am using on a daily basis, right? Having been through this for the last 4 to 5 years, these are the settings, right? And this is how my setup looks like. I got 2 monitors, bottom and top. That's it. Everything's linked. And the reason why I use Trade Ideas is because I can link, which we ran through the linking process, the scanner. So whenever I see something moving on my high volume, all I need to do is click the symbol, and everything here updates. My execution window updates. So when I'm ready to make a trade, there's a millisecond of time that it takes to click the symbol and be over here in position ready to make trades. Okay? All right. So with that being said, we are going to conclude the lesson here. Hope it was valuable. Watch it a few times. Take notes. Write down those scanner settings. There's a reason why I use them, right? My trade history and my metrics basically define the scope of my scanners. So feel free to utilize them, and hopefully they come in handy for you in the future. So I look forward to creating some more lessons for you here. Keep your eye out. All right. Have a good day.